and it wasn't right in everyone's eyes. There's kind of that same feeling today, isn't it? It's like, just do it. Don't interfere with what other people are doing. Let them live their own life, and that's true until their life affects yours from their bad choices, and it bleeds over and spills into your life, or vice versa, your life does that to them, right? Tony Evans, the pastor Tony Evans, finiteness with sinfulness. You got a messed up. Other people don't depend on their minds, but on their feelings. They are moved only by their emotions. I don't want to denigrate the importance of emotions, but the problem with relying on them as one source of authority is that emotions are unreliable. Have you found that to be true? Right? I remember a girl in my youth group years ago, and she was always paranoid about all the other kids in the youth group. And she'd come in and she'd say, Pastor Woody, that girl is dogging me. And I said, what does that mean? Oh, she's looking at me funny. She's worried about what people are thinking about her, right? And if you walk in a room and you're worried, then you're self-absorbed. I'm sorry, that's just the truth, right? And we worry so much about those things, right? We can be emotionally driven. When I'm doing counseling, I will often use this illustration, and it actually serves to illustrate a number of spiritual truths, but I'll use it in this case to talk about the problem with emotion. The illustration of an old-fashioned steam locomotive. So you have three parts to a steam locomotive. You have the engine, you have the coal car, and you have the caboose. And I'll always ask this question, so what makes the train go? And it's not a trick question. What makes the train go? And most people say, you are right. I said, but it's a steam engine, so something has to feed that engine. Coal, right? And I said, so what is the caboose for? Do you know what the caboose is for? Really nothing. It's communicating to the engine. It's saying, everything's okay back here. Way back here, we're doing fine. Or, stop the train, we got a problem, right? Because it's seeing what's happening down the line, but it's not controlling anything. Does that make sense? Right? It's just following the engine. And then I'll ask them this, I'll say, so, as a Christian, God says we're supposed to live the life of faith, so that's the engine that's supposed to be pulling you. But that engine needs fuel, and what is that? It's the Word of God, which is also being propelled by the Spirit of God. And what is the caboose? That's your emotions. Now, we're not saying that emotions are unimportant, but emotions don't tell you everything you need going on. But you can't always rely on them. And here's the problem, a caboose, right? So your feelings should not be what dictate the course of your life. It shouldn't be pushing your train, right? And yet, what is the problem with so many people, Christians? How they feel in any particular moment. The circumstances in their derailed because the caboose was never meant to push the train. You see where I'm going with this, right? And so you have those problems that, reason and rational thought shouldn't be your source of authority. You shouldn't allow your emotions to control your life, because our rational minds often become irrational because of unchecked emotions, so those two work together. But in addition, there's a lot of people who are relying on what they call their conscience. And to this, I refer you to the great theologian who turned out not to be such a great theologian, Jiminy Cricket. Remember the movie Pinocchio? And always let your conscience be your guide. And he was Pinocchio's conscience, right? And he tried to keep him out of trouble. How successful was he at that, right? But here's the problem. You can't let your conscience be your guide, okay? It's true, your conscience, that's that part of you that tries to determine right or wrong, but that needs to be influenced by the Word of God and the Spirit of God. Because your conscience is only as good as what it's being fed. And how is your conscience fed? No. Right, well, some of you can't. Sure, Dad was right about that, right? Or the world around you, or God forbid, some of the so-called mentors or teachers in your life who thought they had all the answers, right? And disastrous results. So if you're being fed, if your conscience is being fed the wrong information, bad information out, right? Also is made worse by the fact that